Across the globe, from the mountain peaks of the Himalayas to the sun-baked deserts of the Middle East, a singular story echoes through time. This is the story of the Great Flood, a deluge of such unimaginable scale that it has captivated, terrified, and inspired humanity for millennia. But is it merely a myth, a fable spun by our ancestors to explain the unexplainable? Or does it hold within its watery depths a chilling truth, a glimpse into a forgotten chapter of our planet's tumultuous past? We will delve into the heart of ancient myths, exploring their haunting similarities and the possibility that they are rooted in actual historical events. We will then turn our attention to the realm of science, examining the geological and climatological evidence that suggests our planet has indeed witnessed cataclysmic floods in its long and turbulent history. Join us as we navigate this captivating confluence of legend and science, seeking to understand the echoes of a disaster that continues to resonate through the ages. Our journey begins with the myths themselves, those ancient whispers passed down through generations. The human story is inextricably intertwined with the stories we tell. Myths, legends, and folklore are not merely fanciful tales, but windows into the soul of a culture, reflecting its values, fears, and beliefs. From the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia to the Americas, from the icy plains of Scandinavia to the islands of the Pacific, the motif of a world submerged beneath a cataclysmic deluge appears time and again. These flood narratives, though separated by vast distances and cultural divides, share remarkable similarities. They often speak of a divine wrath brought upon a corrupt humanity, of a chosen few who survived the deluge, and of a world reborn from the waters. Why does the flood myth hold such enduring power? Is it simply a cautionary tale, a reminder of the destructive power of nature and the importance of living in harmony with the world around us? One of the earliest known flood narratives is found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, a Mesopotamian epic poem dating back to the 3rd millennium BC. This epic tells the story of Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, and his quest for immortality. Along his journey, Gilgamesh encounters Utnapishtim, a man granted eternal life by the gods after surviving a catastrophic flood. Utnapishtim recounts how the gods, angered by the wickedness of humanity, decided to send a great flood to wipe out all life. Warned by the god Ea, Utnapishtim builds a massive ark, gathering within it his family, animals of every kind, and the seeds of all plants. The flood arrives with terrifying force, engulfing the world in darkness and chaos. For 6 days and nights, the storm rages, until finally the waters begin to recede. Utnapishtim's ark comes to rest on the peak of Mount Nisir, where he sends out a dove, a swallow, and finally a raven to search for dry land. Perhaps the most well-known flood narrative in the Western world is the biblical story of Noah's Ark. Found in the Book of Genesis, this account shares striking similarities with the Epic of Gilgamesh, despite being written centuries later. In the biblical narrative, God, grieved by the wickedness of humanity, decides to cleanse the earth with a great flood. He chooses Noah, a righteous man, to build an ark and preserve 2 of every living creature. Noah diligently follows God's instructions, building a massive ark according to precise specifications. He gathers his family along with pairs of every animal, male and female, as commanded. The flood comes as prophesied, covering the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. All life outside the ark perishes. After the deluge, the ark eventually comes to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sends out a raven and then a dove to search for dry land. The striking parallels between the flood narratives of Gilgamesh and Noah, along with countless other flood myths from around the world, raise intriguing questions about the origins of these stories. Could these shared themes be mere coincidence, a product of cultural diffusion, or the universal human tendency to create stories that explain the unexplainable? Or do they hint at a deeper truth, a shared memory of a cataclysmic event that forever altered the course of human history? Scholars have long debated the relationship between myth and history, recognizing that while myths are not literal accounts of the past, they often contain kernels of truth, reflecting real historical events or social anxieties. In the case of the Great Flood, some scholars have suggested that these myths may be based on actual floods that occurred during the last ice age, a period marked by dramatic climate change and rising sea levels. One theory posits that the melting of massive ice sheets at the end of the last ice age led to catastrophic floods that inundated coastal regions, displacing entire populations and leaving a lasting imprint on human memory. As the last glacial period relinquished its icy grip on the planet, a dramatic transformation unfolded. Massive ice sheets, some towering miles high, began to melt at an astonishing rate. This meltwater, carrying enormous volumes of freshwater, surged into the oceans, causing sea levels to rise dramatically. For coastal communities, this rise in sea level was nothing short of cataclysmic. Imagine, if you will, the relentless advance of the sea, swallowing up familiar landmarks, inundating homes and forcing people to flee to higher ground. The scale of these glacial meltwater floods was staggering, dwarfing even the most destructive floods in recorded history. These floods, though catastrophic, were not isolated events. While melting glaciers undoubtedly played a significant role in shaping the post-glacial world, they were not the only force capable of unleashing catastrophic floods. In certain geological settings, natural dams formed by landslides, glaciers, or volcanic activity can block the flow of rivers, creating massive inland seas. When these dams fail, the results can be catastrophic. Imagine a lake, larger than any you have ever seen, held back by a precarious wall of ice or rock. Now imagine that dam giving way, unleashing a torrent of water that scours the landscape, carving canyons and depositing massive amounts of sediment across vast distances. Geological evidence suggests that such outburst floods have occurred throughout Earth's history, leaving behind telltale signs of their passage in the form of massive canyons, displaced boulders, and thick layers of sediment. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the theory of a real Great Flood is the Black Sea flood hypothesis. This theory, proposed by marine geologist William Ryan and Walter Pittman in the 1990s, suggests that the Black Sea, once a freshwater lake, was catastrophically inundated by salt water from the Mediterranean Sea around 7,600 years ago. According to Ryan and Pittman, the rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age caused the Mediterranean Sea to breach the Bosporus Strait, a narrow waterway that separates the Black Sea from the Sea of Marmara. This breach unleashed a torrent of salt water into the Black Sea basin, raising its water level by hundreds of feet and inundating vast areas of land. The Black Sea flood hypothesis is supported by a growing body of geological and archaeological evidence. Sediment cores extracted from the Black Sea floor reveal a sharp transition from fresh water to saltwater sediments dated to around 7,600 years ago. Furthermore, sonar surveys have revealed submerged settlements and ancient shorelines beneath the Black Sea, suggesting that the region was once home to a thriving human population. The story of the Great Flood, woven through the tapestry of human history, serves as a potent reminder of the immense power of nature and the importance of respecting the delicate balance of our planet. Whether viewed through the lens of ancient myth or the empirical evidence of science, the flood narrative compels us to confront our own mortality and our place within the grand scheme of the natural world. From the devastating floods unleashed by melting glaciers to the cataclysmic outburst floods triggered by collapsing natural dams, the Earth bears witness to the awesome power of water. The Black Sea flood hypothesis, though still debated, offers a compelling example of how quickly and dramatically our planet can change, reshaping coastlines and altering the course of human history. As we face the challenges of climate change and the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, the lessons of the Great Flood resonate more profoundly than ever. By understanding the forces that have shaped our planet in the past, we can better prepare for the challenges of the future, mitigating risks and building more resilient communities.